Hi, and welcome to episode 21. This is a milestone episode. If you make it to 21 episodes in a podcast, you become now the elite. You're 1% of people that don't actually make it to that many episodes. So we are here with Alice Chen on the Alice Chen podcast. Alice, how are you doing?
That's a loaded question. I've been better.
Oh, really?
Yes.
What's going on?
Well, recent events. Remember on a previous episode, maybe one of the beginning episodes that we talked about kind of team changes and attrition and just kind of that not every member of your team will be with you for the whole ride, actually, right? And so I'm dealing with some of that right now. Current events, yep.
Okay.
And so just kind of working through that and making sure that the business and the team that has stayed is protected, and we kind of keep rolling. And as my business coach always says, don't worry about the people who have left, worry about the survivors. He always says that.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow, that's good.
And what he means by that is you can't worry about the person who's left, but you should and can worry and be concerned with the culture and the team fit and the people who remain. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're in this
I'm
right
in the trenches
right
now.
Okay.
Yes, I know. Very, very raw. Yeah.
Yeah. So in the previous episodes we talked about the past. It's easier to talk about the past than in the present.
Correct. Yes. Much easier. Yeah. In the present, it's still very, like I said, very obviously current, tense, raw. And I'm still working through it right now, actually. Yeah,
Wow.
with my team. So, yeah.
Well, to shed some light, I'm having the same week.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So I had a team member leave, and this is my first go at it. So on the way here to
Really?
on the way here to the
didn't know that.
podcast,
Okay,
I'm
okay.
thinking of you.
Okay,
Because I'm
okay.
like, what would Alice do? What would Alice do? She's like, I kept thinking
She's
about.
been through this.
I kept thinking about the situation you had with your friend. You're like,
Yeah.
he's my little brother, and I got this. Don't worry. You have the confidence that exudes from like who you are. So
I'm glad to hear you say that, because I don't. It's not always true, even though that might be the perception.
Yeah.
But yeah. I don't always know exactly what to do. So
okay.
So
Well,
tell me about your situation, and then
Yeah,
we'll kind of share.
so
Yeah.
we had what's called GBSB last week, which is our CEO and executives come in for like an accountability. So they literally like hold us there until we ask
like hostage.
Yeah, right.
Oh, okay.
Till we and it's a good thing because we have to ask 15 questions or make comments on how the company can change.
Oh wow. Okay.
So the CEOs are literally in the line of fire, and they go to all these different regions. But just before that, as I'm walking in, I'm like all pepped up, ready to go. One of my loan officers calls me and says, "Yeah, I'm no longer going to be working with you." I'm like, "What?"
Just dropped a bomb like that.
Yeah,
That's it.
yeah.
Okay.
Right. And you could kind of like, I'm sure that sometimes you can kind of see the writing on the wall.
Could you see it coming?
Yeah,
or
it was
did
a
you
li-
see? Okay.
Yeah, it was
okay.
a little bit. I mean,
Okay.
it was
Okay.
like he wasn't getting back to me as quick, and
like response time, communications.
normally it was like
Faster.
him,
Yep.
faster, and he kind of drifted away, wasn't showing up to some of the group events, and I'm like,
And how long had that been? The change, I guess.
well, that was probably within about a few months, I felt, but
a few
I think
months,
it's a
last
little
few
bit
months.
sooner. Would you say like when you see stuff like that it's really deeper rooted than it is right?
I would say so. Yeah. I mean, I would say the longer I'm in this business too, and the longer I work with people, not only clients, but like with people on my team, you tend to have a gut feeling, and you tend to have like a better intuition about things. And so a lot of times what I say is in the moment, it's like a shock, and you're like, oh, I couldn't have seen this coming and things like that. Right.
Yeah.
But then once it kind of calms down after a day or a few days, a week or two, then you kind of reflect back and you think about, oh gosh, yeah, there were signs, or there were
right.
not even necessarily red flags, but just behavior signs, of like, ooh, that was different, or I didn't notice that, right? I didn't take note of it. So yes, typically it is, if you think it was, a week or a month, right? Typically it's at least been going on for twice as long or so. Yeah.
Wow, that's good to know.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. And I can, as we process this, we can look back and go,
process it together. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. This is I pay a shrink like
a-
thousands
like a
of dollars for
business
this stuff.
therapist, yeah. So tell me, when he made the call and he said, I'm not going to work with your team anymore or on your team anymore.
Yeah.
Did he say why, or did you ask why? Like, how did that conversation go?
Well, it was kind of like a it's not you, it's me type of thing.
Oh boy. Okay.
Like, well,
that's what
I know-
that's what this person said.
Kind of like a breakup, like
Okay.
your typical breakup.
Oh, okay.
But I was actually okay with it.
Okay.
You know,
so
because
you didn't like argue or fight or say
not at all.
Okay.
And I know his history too. The last place he left, the guy just railed him. You know, and
the person that he worked with. Okay.
Yeah, the person that we kind of took him from. He's like, I can't believe you're going there. Blah 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 blah.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like, totally made him feel bad, and I just wanted to say it's okay. Like,
and on a decent note, yeah.
right. It wasn't a bad thing, and actually, it was a relief for me because I felt like I was trying my best to make somebody who they weren't, and it was me doing like adult babysitting. To be honest with you,
kind of, yeah.
So
yeah.
it was different. It probably was different. What was your experience?
So
like?
mine was an admin, which is so on a team. Agents are independent contractors, probably just like loan officers are probably independent contractors, right? So they're not employees. Admins on my team are employees, and we'll talk about probably in a later episode like team structure and things like that. And so it was one of my admins that has been on the team or had been on the team for 3 years. So she had been on the team for a year and then had to leave due to a personal reason, which of course, understandable. And then took a leave for about a year in between and then came back for 3 years, almost 3 years.
Okay.
And my situation was definitely different. It was a phone call on Good Friday, terrible Friday.
Oh,
and I picked up the phone and she said, is the person, is the other admin, the operations manager, is she in the office with you? And I thought, oh, okay, that's a weird question. But yeah, she's here. Like, do you need her to be on the call or is this a private call? And she said, no, are you near her? And I said, no, but I can be near her. Again, do you need her to be on the call?
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So then finally she's like, no, yeah, if you could get together with her to be on the call and put me on speakerphone. And I said, okay. So I put her on speakerphone and she essentially in a nutshell tells us that earlier in the year that she was at a networking event, I think with her cousin or a friend or somebody.
Mm.
And one thing led to another. I don't even think it was a real estate networking. It was just a networking event. And one thing led to another. And she got to talking about what she did for me and the team, things like that, just socializing. And then all of a sudden, before she knew it, one thing led to another. And that team decided that they wanted to poach her. Yep.
Okay.
So it's a competitor in the marketplace. And
you know them very well?
Not extremely well. I think thankfully, long and short of it is I haven't really crossed paths with them that much, which is surprising because, again, like the real estate market is big, but it's also very small. Oh
gosh, yeah.
Very small.
Totally.
Yeah. It's the same players. It's the same, know. So she said, and then, they approached me and tried to get me initially. And she said, I said, oh, I can't possibly leave Alice and her team, etc. And then after a while, they were like, no, seriously, though, make your demands and we'll see if we can meet them. So I guess she said, she made some ludicrous demands. She made her list. She didn't think that they were going to meet them. And then they came back, I don't even know, a week or a month later, however long later, and then said, we will meet every single one of your demands. We have an offer for you, an offer letter. Okay. So that Friday when she called, she didn't actually say, I'm going to take it. I have to take this opportunity. She did say, it's a great opportunity. I really have done research on the team. She did say things that led me to believe that was probably her 2-week notice, but she never actually said this is my 2 weeks, and she didn't send over like a letter or an email, written notice.
That's what
you know
happened
what I mean?
to me too. It was like a phone call. I'm like, okay, so what does that mean?
It's not formal, right. And it's not really the way that you should do things,
Right.
And so while I was on the phone with my operations manager, okay, the operations manager said, well, what would it take to keep you? Normal question, right? Very normal.
Yeah.
And this, former employee said, well, she kind of laughed and she said, well, I don't know. I didn't even think about that. Okay. So then how we left it was, okay, I said, please think about it and let us know ASAP, as soon as possible, okay, so that we can know how to proceed, right? And so she said, okay, I'm going to talk to, a couple of my friends, my family, my parents, and then I will call you, or basically she said, I will get back to you tonight. Okay, great. Sounds good. So again, remember, it's Good Friday, okay? Mm-hmm. And so I go out to do Easter bunny shopping that night, okay, with my husband. And so I text her in a group with the operations manager, and it was later that evening. I said, don't forget, please let us know what it would take, right? No response. Okay, nothing, like literally nothing. The night comes and goes, okay? So now it's Saturday morning. And Bill, remember, I've been through this, like, I don't even know how many times, okay? People come and go, right? Mm-hmm. I've been through this. Mm-hmm. And I've been through some situations which were terrible, meaning like people tried to steal my stuff. They tried to access my data. I mean, I've had, you name it, I've had it happen.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Saturday morning rolls around and my husband, who has been through it with me every time, turns to me and says, I don't feel good about this. Okay. And he said, has she responded yet? I said, no. And he said, okay, well, I think we should at least not delete, but I think we should at least suspend, like basically hit the pause button on her access and accounts until she responds.
That's same thing with me too.
Right?
You got to be careful. You got to protect
yourself.
You
have to be careful. Yeah. And especially.
It's not a personal thing. It's just protection.
No. It's just protection. Yeah. It's just a precautionary, precautionary. That's what I like that word. It's not, it's just in case, right?
It's part of business.
It's part of business.
Right.
So I said, okay, go ahead and do it, So he said, okay, I'm not even going to do everything. I'm just going to do the main things, like 3 or 4 things. Okay. And I said, okay, sounds good. So we did it, he kind of just hit pause, didn't delete them. Okay. And I'm sure she noticed, and she, I think, was shocked. Okay. And so then she basically decided to talk to the other members of the team, not me, okay, and not the operations manager, and say, well, I guess the decision was made for me.
Oh, gosh.
Yep.
Isn't it something, that's kind of what happened with me too. Like we thought there was a potential chance that the individual would come back. Mm-hmm. Just because he was, you get they get emotional. They start looking at the grass is greener on the other side.
Always,
right?
Yeah.
But many times it isn't. There's a lot of smoke and mirrors out there.
There is, yeah.
But then we had another situation where somebody else from our company got involved, and then all of a sudden made him kind of feel like he got pushed out the door.
He got pushed out the door
because of how they reacted to.
Yes, how they reacted to it. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's that. Like it was like, wait a minute, I could have handled this much better.
Yeah.
Like I felt like I handled it better, and I was actually okay with him leaving. Now the drama is starting to come at you.
Yes, like what I call the after drama.
Yeah,
right?
Like you don't have control over it, which is like, wait a minute, I was not asking for this. I'm actually okay with him leaving.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if he wanted to come back, then we could change things.
But like, so she never reached out to me. Still to this day, ever since that Friday, she has not reached out. She has not. Okay. No, she has not. And I have reached out again afterwards. So it was that following Monday after Easter where I texted her because there was a lot of drama going on, and I realized and I overheard that she had spoken with at least 2 other team members, okay, about kind of her take on what happened, right? Which, again, like people always say, there are always at least 3 sides to every story, right?
Right.
And so I'm not saying that it wasn't true. I'm just saying that it was heavily filtered, towards that end. And so she had already gotten to those people before I could, because, and I've learned my lesson, Bill. The reason why I didn't talk about that with other members of the team is because I had learned my lesson from previous situations. That is not something you should do. It is not proper, like her situation is nobody else's business,
Sure.
if that makes sense,
Right.
you know?
Right.
And so why would I talk about it with another employee?
Good point.
Okay.
Good point. Yeah.
It's not, I mean, it's okay to talk about it with the operations manager because that's literally her job, you know?
Yeah.
But I just don't think it's appropriate.
Do you feel like there's like, do you make a formal announcement? Because I'm in that situation right now.
So,
what do you do? Like,
yeah,
you,
so it
you have
was
to
very
tell people
tough.
why, because
Yeah.
they're all going, wait a minute, I like the guy. Like,
Yeah.
I like him
exactly,
too, you know?
exactly. Or I'm upset, Alice. You know, I'm sad. Like, well, I'm sad too. You know, like this is, you know. So it was hard, Bill, because as you know, just because something like this happens, the business doesn't stop.
Yeah.
Right? Like
Right.
you don't just say
Show
like
must go on. Right?
to the
Yeah.
clients, you don't go, well, wait a minute, I'm dealing with some internal drama. Can you call back like in 3 weeks? That doesn't work, you know?
Right.
And so the hard part is on that Monday, I was not in the office the first part of the day. I had to.
Oh no. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, the show must go
Yeah,
on.
right.
So I don't even remember what I had to do, but like I couldn't be there for like the first 2 or 3 hours of the day.
Does that make you feel like more anxious?
Oh,
because you're like
100%.
like you got an uncontrollable situation kind of happening.
Uncontrollable.
Yeah, and then I mean, now like you know, like it's something where you're like, I didn't create this.
Yeah,
I don't
didn't
think I
ask
did.
for this.
I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't ask for this. Now all of a sudden, I'm out of the office, so I'm like it's kind of like I'm losing a little bit of myself.
Oh,
because
yeah, I'm
of,
losing control.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah,
And for me, I'm a control freak. So, like, that was not good, you know? So, by the time I got back to the office, you know, from whatever it was that I honestly don't remember what it was, but it was not something that could be moved, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. Like, if I could have moved it, I would have moved
Sure,
it, you know?
sure, yeah.
And so, you know, by the time I got back to the office, you know, the chit chat and chatter had already started. And so then I did text her later in the day and I said that, you know, I've talked with all the team members, which I did by that point. And I said, I gathered that Friday was your last day, you know, even though you didn't specifically state that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I said, I feel like I need to explain kind of what I did, you know? And so I said, I suspended your accounts. I didn't delete them. And I said, and if you had reached out to me, I would have explained that to you, you know, until I received a response from you, you know?
Yeah, I think that's the hard part where like, and you mentioned it earlier about having a little bit of a personal tie in with a professional, right?
It is, yeah.
So
when
there's
you when you blend the blur of the lines, it makes it super, super difficult because you have the one side, which is like purely black and white, purely business. And then you have the other side, which is like, but we're friends, or I thought we were friends.
Yeah,
you know?
so there's a sense of betrayal that kind of goes
Yes.
along that you're having to process as well, right?
Yes. There's a big sense of betrayal. And on the one side, too, I had my business coach say this to me that, like, you know, you can feel a sense of betrayal, but however, you can't really have it both ways, like neutrally. Okay, you can't have it both ways. Meaning, if you stand behind your actions and what you did because of business reasons, right? Then you really shouldn't pull the emotional side and the feeling of betrayal into it because it was purely business.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So again, it's not saying that you shouldn't have feelings or emotions
Sure,
about it,
sure.
but you know, to try to kind of keep it within the lines like that, you know, so that it doesn't get out of sorts.
Yeah, I always say the biggest battle is 18 inches apart.
Yes.
Your head and your heart. So you have to tell yourself that I'm not going to let the emotion
take over.
Right.
Exactly. Which is very easy, especially when if a team member or somebody's been with you for quite a while, you know, several years or more, right?
Yeah, mine was 1 year, so it wasn't like
yeah.
huge, but it, like, you know, in our situation, we kept trying to fix like his needs by replacing other people, but at the end of the day, I'm like, okay, there's a common denominator here.
Yeah.
You know, when it comes to like you're doing these he was doing really hard loans and it was clogging the system.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, you're like, okay, well, like I can't fix that. And if you're not fitting into the mold and the culture of our branch and company, then it is a choice that you have to make.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Yep.
And people can listen, but at the end of the day, if they don't adhere to your advice,
adhere,
you just gotta let them go. You
I
know?
think also it comes down to communication because I just feel that I feel sad, you know, and it's a shame that it comes down to communication. That if she had just responded or if she had thought of, which is a normal, like to think about, okay, well, what would it take if you genuinely want to stay, right? Like, and you love the team, and you love working with us. You should think about that, right? You should have thought about that. And because of the lack of communication, do you know what I mean? Like there was just no chance, or very low chance of this having a good outcome.
Yeah. Well, you said it. You said your feelings in one word. So I had somebody tell me one time, he's like, I can talk to my wife and we can know exactly how each other's feeling by giving a feeling word. So you said you're sad.
I'm very sad. Yeah.
So that's a great question to ask her, because, or somebody that you're in relationships with, like, how are you, like, the cliche, like,
how are you feeling?
Yeah, how are you feeling? How does that make you feel?
How does that make you feel?
But if they say, well, I feel like the sky is blue, that's not a feeling.
That's not a feeling.
But if I feel angry, okay, now I know how to respond to that. Or if I feel sad, now it's like, oh my gosh, like, there's soft gloves. Like, there's got to be a response to that.
There's got to be a response.
Otherwise, the person's just malicious and you don't want them on your team anyways.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, I mean, when you said that, it was all of a sudden I felt it here.
Oh,
yeah. Because, I mean, like I said, you carry this persona, Alice, of everything is together. Business is normal, which is the way you run, and it's great. And you've been successful from it.
Yeah.
But the rawness is what I appreciate about you.
Well, thank you. I know that that's what a lot of people think about me, but it's not 100% true. Like I'm sorry, I don't have it all together.
Yeah.
I'm not a robot. I'm a human being. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I do have moments. You can ask the people closest to me. You can ask my husband. You can ask Jessica, my operations manager. I have moments where I break down for sure. 100%. Yeah.
Wow. That's wow. This is a good episode. I mean, what do you think, guys? All right.
So, I guess in terms of moving forward, right? So now it's happened, right? And I guess, what are your plans? What are your plans to kind of one foot in front of the other?
That might even be a good title for the episode. Where do we go from here?
Yeah.
So, I like what you said earlier. Like, you have to separate, like, the person is left, and you have to almost tell yourself, I can't think about the people that have left. I have
what my coach said. Yeah.
Exactly.
You have to think about the survivors.
You have to think about the survivors.
Kind of like the people who are left, like, how are they doing? Right. And so that's kind of what I've been doing this last, and again, it's not comical. That's not the word I want to use. It's always a challenge, because again, just because you're dealing with this stuff, right? Whatever you want to call it, drama, doesn't mean the business stops. And especially not in the spring market. We're in the spring market right now, right? And so as a business owner, as a team lead, and you're probably finding this yourself, you are trying to juggle and balance both, right? So super, super busy, trying to keep all the balls in the air on the business side. And then you got this drama pot going, brewing, right? And you're just kind of like, I don't have time for this,
Right.
But unfortunately, you have to deal with it. Otherwise, it's just going to fester, right?
Yeah. It'll only get worse and worse, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And so that's what I'm dealing with right now. Is, I don't want to call it the aftermath, but it's making sure that everybody who is behind is okay. How are they doing? How are they processing it? Because again, we've developed this super close connection, with the person who left, with each other, and so it does make me worry, because sometimes it's more than one person that leaves, because it's, there's a divide that occurs. Yeah.
Sometimes it can be a ripple effect. And
correct.
That's one of the things I think about. Like, as a leader, you're like, okay, so we built this branch pretty quickly with good production. And now one person leaves, and you see other heads pop up and look over and go, am I missing something?
Yeah. Is the grass really greener?
Is the grass greener, right?
Yeah.
Like, well, and then that plays with your own personal, esteem too. Because what did I do, to cause this or create this?
Correct.
But you go back to the foundation of who you are and how you built everything.
You have to. Yeah, you have to.
Sometimes you have to reset. So
just reset.
For us, what we're doing is like, okay, I got two people that aren't really producing really a lot right now. So I'm going to bring them on my team,
Yep.
which we have it really, really dialed in right now. Everything's moving very, very well.
Good.
Like as far as systems and everything. So I'm
There
like,
you
I'm going
go.
to give you a gift. I'm going to give you a gift because this
a
other,
present.
yeah. So like now that we got the clog out of the system, sorry if you're watching this, just it is what it is, right? But but now you guys know how to write loans. I need you guys to go out and sell.
Yep.
And that's where I like kind of what you said.
Yeah.
You have to kind of look, reset what's the best for the rest of the team.
Yes, and you have to kind of you have to take a step back, remove the emotion from
Yep,
the business,
yeah.
and then kind of decide what is best for the team going forward.
Yeah.
Right? Like what is the best solution, not only in the interim but for the longer term.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you what we're doing.
Yeah. Let me know.
So I often say that you know what best happened with somebody on the team, not when they're there, but when they've left, when they've departed. And
Yeah,
the reason I
yeah.
say that is because when somebody leaves, no matter who it is, when somebody leaves, I've always realized and learned that then everything becomes clear as far as the work that they did, the level of the work, how efficient they were, etc. And so it often, the clouds kind of almost part, and it's no longer foggy and it's very crystal clear as far as that.
Right.
And
right.
then with that comes a clarity of like, okay, do we need that specific position exactly as it was? Or has the business and the industry changed so that then we can pivot or do something different now, right?
Yep.
So I see it as an opportunity then to kind of not restructure, but kind of a little bit like, it opens the door to other possibilities.
Right. Right.
So what we're doing right now is we've already posted the job, with the thought that like we may still go back to that as a full-time position, right? But in the meantime, until we find the right person, I don't want to rush to find the right person, okay? We are going to kind of piece things together. So Compass offers a service, remote, called Contract to Close. And so they are able to help remotely with some of like the admin tasks that you don't need to physically be there for. So we are asking them to help, which is great. And then for like the in-person stuff, we're going to have a couple of basically contractors to work ad hoc hours in doing errands like key copies, getting signs set up, like all those things that you don't need a license. You don't need even experience really. I mean, it's very straightforward. Make copies of this, go take this to this house, like it's running essentially.
Right.
And then any like back end admin stuff that we need additional support, data entry, file organization, things like that, scanning things in. I think we're going to have somebody like a friend. I'm going to have a friend, a family friend help.
Yeah.
And again, just ad hoc.
Yep.
And then we're just going to kind of see how that goes for a little while. And at least it'll carry us over through the tough period of the spring market. And in the meantime, I've already explained to the agents that, we're just going to myself included, I'm no exception, we're just going to have to pitch in a little bit more, each. And I think that's our plan, at least for the short term.
Yeah.
And then if we find somebody for the long term, great, the interview process. But again, we're not in a rush. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's wisdom because because you've been through it before. It's like, okay, here it is again. We don't have time right now to go through our full interview process. Takes forever. Yeah.
And so even just to take one candidate through that, I mean, it would take hours and weeks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's one reason why we don't want to rush to it. And then also because even if we do hire somebody, I mean, it takes a while for them to get up and running. And then we have to take time from our day to train the person. Do you see what I'm saying? So again, we just don't have time right now. Yeah. Time is a commodity we don't have a lot of right now. So then I was talking to Jessica and I was like, we just need to get to June essentially. And then we can reassess. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, our company came in last week for, I think I mentioned it, GBSB. And it's one of those things where the theme of it, walking away from it was tech. Like AI is here.
Oh, yeah.
So like, not to scare the admins or anybody else that are in those positions.
That's a good point. Yeah.
But those are areas where, like you said, you can reset and go, okay, well, maybe.
Do we really need this?
100%, right?
Do we really need to spend this money for this?
Yeah. So
And
delegating
we-
through the tech that we have in front of us today.
Yeah, we just reassess what we need.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it is a choice, oftentimes between having a human in that seat and AI, or piecing it together, like I said, with like independent contractors and a little bit of the tech. And
I'm seeing more of that. Like if I went and started my own company today, I would probably, there's ways that you can pay file based on processing.
100%.
So that, and you see that in the real estate world as transaction coordinators too. So there's not to, like I said, I don't want to scare anybody, but those are options.
It's realities of the
Right.
marketplace in the world that we're in right now.
And those are also, like you said before, it's opportunities. So
It
as
is.
a wise successful business
Well, thank
person,
you,
you
Yeah, you got to see it as after you get down from the emotional whatever hit, right? Then you have to look at it as an opportunity to change, possibly, if you want, and reassess. Really, that's all. Yeah.
Wow. Well, this has been a raw episode, and Alice, I actually absolutely loved seeing it. So it gets me more inspired by you as an individual in the industry.
you, Bill.
So thank you so much, and we'll see you on the next episode of the Alice Chen podcast.
See you next time.